Welcome, welcome. Episode 17, Word to Your Mama. First full-blown episode of 2021. That is correct. If you're new here, welcome. And the premise basically is me, a Latina mama, a.k.a. magical motherfucking warrior, navigating business and building my tribe. So basically, I have people on here that are part of my tribe because maybe I've known them and I know them really well and I respect them. Or maybe I don't know them that well, but their podcast, their book, their conference, or something like that has impacted my life. And so I consider that part of my tribe because everything that negative and positive that you consume or that you run into, affects you, impacts you. So that's the premise of this show. I have some amazing people from all walks of life. So for 2021, I wanted to start off with a bang. And so we're starting off with one of my brother-in-laws who just got out of prison about a little over a month ago. He was in for 12 years. His name is Jamyang Taylor. We call him Bib. Supernatural Bear calls him Uncle Big Jae. You'll find out why. And he's also known as Okie Dog. And we'll discuss many, many different things. We'll discuss what he's learned, how it's impacted him. He was also a firefighter while he was in there. He got mad degrees. Also, the amazing story how he reconnected with his daughter by creating these awesome kids books. And they were on the news and a bunch of different things like that. And then after that, which we go a little longer than usual, but there was so much to talk about. And it's just so awesome, that he's out and the experiences we had. And then the Supernatural Bear Corner is special because it's the first time he gets to interview someone. He was super hyped. And he gets to interview his Uncle Big Jae, who his middle name he's named after. So that's exciting. Welcome and enjoy. Good practice. Okay. Just convo. Just a convo. Just a convo. Just you with your hermana.
Sí.
Probably one of your, I'm hoping one of your favorite sister-in-laws.
For sure.
Oh, babe.
Hey.
Okay, babe. So I was making the outline for I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm glad to be.
And then I was like, where should we start? Let's start from the beginning. Like, I call you Bib, but what is your name? And what do you go by? What do you do when people say, what do you do? So just so people can know what your name is.
All right. My name is Jamyang Taylor. There's a time I never would have said that because that's considered my government name, and we don't do that. But I've been going by it for the last 12 years while I was in the Sims. I just got used to it, so yeah. I'm cool. And now, I'm trying to do everything official. So that's what's going to be on everything legit. So it's Jamyang Taylor. The family calls me Bibby. The friends call me Jay. Jae is we have a bunch of names. So
yeah. And if someone you've never met before and they're like, oh, what do you do? What is your answer to that today?
Today, I'm an author.
That's right. Oh, please believe it. And we will be getting into that shit.
Awesome.
You go by Jay and I want
Generally
people to
J, yeah.
And I want
J-A-E.
people to know JAE, and I want people to know that the Supernatural Bear, you listen to this podcast, the Supernatural Bear, his middle name is named after you. And
yes.
So to him, you're Uncle Big Jae.
Yep.
And he's Little Jae.
Little Big Jae.
Little Big Jae, yes. Don't let me mess it up because he will be upset.
Yeah.
Little Big Jae. And so I met you. I think I might have met you before this, but maybe you tell me how you remember. But I think the first time I met you is
The move.
Yeah, right. That's the first time, right? I was like, did I meet him before that? So I was living by myself in K-Town in a studio in like slumlord studio cockroach infested. And then I was moving to Silver Lake, and then Rocco was like, he was like, I'm gonna bring some people. And he brought you. Like, did he tell you? He was like, oh, how did that go down?
If memory serves me correct, he was just like, I need you to help me move. You got anybody that that could help move? So, when family calls, I go. So I called one of my boys, and we just went over there and went to task. Like I don't think Rock gave that much detail
because he never does, anyways.
Exactly. So it was just, I need you to help move. All right, where do we show up? And let's do it.
Yeah, and you came through. You and your friend came through. I don't even remember your friend. I just remember
Yeah.
you.
Big,
and then
6'6", big dude. Yeah.
And then so that was like a blessing because I was stressed, and I think it was raining a little bit, or sprinkling or something a little bit, if I remember correctly. And then I got to meet your now wife Lupita because as a thank you, I took you. We all went out like double date style to House of Blues.
Right.
R.I.P. because that shit ain't there anymore. Is that crazy? And
it's crazy.
and we went there to eat, and then so I got to know you there, and I remember thinking like, man, he's funny. He's like super funny. Like he's never serious. He's super funny. So yes, I want to talk about how we met and stuff, and then. Yeah, so and then like I would kind of see you here and there. It was like the beginning of my relationship with Rocco, so it was kind of like, he kind of kept shit separate. So you know how he was back then. So I didn't see you as much here and there. I think maybe the last time I saw you was at the DVD release party for Dilated.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, because I was there with my homegirl Karen, and she was with me. I remember I was asking her, I was like, can you roll with me? I don't want to go by myself. And so she rolled with me, and then you were there.
Trouble after that one too. Almost everything Dilated related, I would get a phone call the next day.
In trouble.
Rocco called me up the next day. Bib, you was tripping. Bib, why are people telling me this? Bib, what was going on? Dude, you can't do that. This is my business. Every time. Shout out, Rock. Sorry.
Big bro.
People see.
I was really excited to. It was really important for me to have you on this platform and this podcast because I miss you. Also, I miss you because you were gone for 12 years. And I wanted to talk about where you're at now with that. Like, I don't need how it was, maybe a couple of things, how things were while you were there. But, I really want to focus on your history maybe a little bit, and then talk about a little bit of your experience. There's some things that I really want to touch upon is kind of like you being a firefighter there. And things like that, and we'll get into that. So you just got out,
right? December 2nd.
So
2020. It's about a month and a half, less than a month and a half ago.
So how does that fucking feel?
I guess you can compare it to like if there was a beached whale or something that's just drying up, laying up on the sand, and then all of a sudden, after just baking in the sand and out of its environment, it gets put back in the water. You know what I mean? I guess that's what I can relate it to. It feels awesome. It feels like the end of slavery, or you know what I mean? Like that type of feeling.
Reals.
Like that type of major feeling. And you tell a slave all of a sudden, okay, you're free.
And is it probably a fucking crazy unique experience because you're free, but COVID, you're not really free because even the people that are free aren't really free.
Yeah, it's almost like they didn't let me out. They just put everybody in jail too.
We're laughing, but it's kind of fucked up. It's real.
So, but all right, if everybody's in jail with me, all my loved ones and everything, then at least it makes it a little bit better. Not, in a manner of speaking, but like I got my family back, so I got my daughter back. Got freedom. I got the beach back, all that. So it's amazing.
Must be amazing. So when you were in prior to going in this last time, like what did you even, was it even anywhere in your mind the concept of the school to prison pipeline? Or was that even something you knew beforehand? And while you were in there, were you thinking about that at all?
Um, I think I just generally thought about everything. Is more yeah, definitely in a way that laws aren't made for us, and
Yeah.
we don't learn the laws, and they're basically used against us. Like laws are like a weapon for blacks and minorities. You know what I mean? So they just basically outsmarted us, out manipulated us, put themselves in better positions to make the laws that work against us. You know what I mean? So, but I knew that going in. I knew
Yeah.
that, and so it's, in a way it's my fault for not knowing the laws and to what extent that they could push the laws. You know what I mean? So while I'm in there, I kicked myself for saying for getting caught up in the net. If I knew the net was there, then, although it shouldn't be there, I knew there was a net there, and I let myself get caught up in the net.
Yeah.
So now all we could do is try and cut holes in the net and remove the nets so it doesn't happen to other people. Because it's just not fair.
Yeah, because it's big business, and I think there's a lot of people that can't see it that way. Even some black and brown folks that they don't see it, that it's really set up against us. And the school to prison pipeline is real,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just another form of slavery.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's modern day slavery, and you see that everywhere in there. Like you're getting paid from, generally about starting off at 8 cent an hour. Some people, like, it's a big deal if you get a job paying over $100 a month, and it's rare. But
Yeah.
if you generally, your jobs are gonna be like between 18 cent. As a firefighter there, I was getting 32 cent an hour,
Shut up
and that's to go save lives, to
and put your life at risk.
put my life at risk, to save lives. We did a whole bunch of medical. We went out to the communities, to the local community, and saved people, saved lives out there, CPR, all of that. And we're getting paid 32 cent an hour to do that. Maybe the top guy there was getting like 43 cent an hour. So
That's crazy.
yeah, and I don't know how their budgets work, but it's big. Like through PIA, it's just big corporations coming in and contracting basically slave
Yep.
labor. So what's their incentive to stop doing that? If
Yeah,
we're
they're
running
just like, let's get more quote unquote employees.
right, we run the prisons for them. They give us jobs that run the prison and pay us nothing. So that's less real jobs that they have to pay for. And then they contract us out to private contractors for big business. So, until people just stop, basically like in school days when when you was running around saying, wake up,
Yeah,
until people just stop and shut it all down, stop working for them. It might be tough at first, but ultimately that's what's going to have to happen. You just have to stop running their prisons, make it expensive to house us.
yeah,
You
because
know,
you're in there, then they get cheap, super cheap labor, and then on top of that, they get a certain amount of money to give you the wackiest, unhealthiest food, and
and th-
then the people, you have to pay money extra to get even extra types of food, so they're making money on that.
it's such big business. They're getting per inmate approximately $80,000 a year to house us. When it might be a 3, 4, 5 family household in the hood that is not living off of 40,000. But you're
Exactly.
getting 80,000 to house one inmate. You're not giving them good education. You're not giving them good food. You're not filling them. They're not getting full off the food that you're feeding them. You're wearing the same clothes just about every day, and
Yeah.
anything other than that, they're paying for themselves. So where's that $80,000 going? It's not going to rehabilitation.
No.
It's where's it going?
And so you being in the system, we know, some of us know looking in, that the really rehabilitation doesn't happen. But you being there, did you see any evidence of anyone being rehabilitated, or was it just a vicious cycle and it was on the individual to make different moves so that they don't come back in?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've seen it. There are instances as far and in between. Generally, you have to rehabilitate yourself. You have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. Um, you have to want it. And there are things that are in place that if you really want it, you can get it. I wouldn't say that it's the prison rehabilitating you, but they do give you, there are some programs that do help. It's just the bureaucracy and the everything that you have to go through to get in the programs.
Yeah.
Like they're offering, if you're one of the lucky 30 people that make it.
That's what
But
I was
what
gonna
about,
say.
what I mean, if you're lucky, in the lucky, on the lucky yard, if you're on the good yard that has that program, and then you could finish the program without getting transferred. Or because they don't really care, or you could finish the program without it going on a lockdown constantly and getting shut down, or finish the program without going to the hole for something that wasn't your fault, or
Yeah.
for doing something that you had to do to protect
Survive.
yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's so many things stacked against you. They have programs there, but it's so much stacked against you. You're lucky if you're able to finish everything. And some people do. And shout out to those people that actually do something and make it out. But those are generally people that had it in them to do it from the beginning, and
Yeah.
they want it, and they really wanted it.
So I was going to ask, that's a good segue. I wanted to ask, how hard was it for you to get into the firefighter program?
It was pretty. It's a difficult process. For me, it wasn't as hard as it was for some people because just my background is more was more geared to paperwork and being able to know who to talk to and how to talk to them.
Yeah.
So for a position like that, they want people that are well groomed. They want people that know how to, because we have to go to the community. So they want people that know how to conduct themselves. They want to be able to look at your prison record and see that you know how to behave, or that you're not a problem, or you're not going to be a consistent problem. So my background helped me to facilitate that quicker than maybe the regular person that might have been waiting years. All I had to do was wait for my points and my time to get down low enough in order to be a part of the program. But then after that, it was, a couple of applications, constant kind of bugging them.
Yeah.
Hey, can you look at my file? Hey, can I, and then they had me P-coded for violence because of my charges. So I had to go through the process of getting that removed, which was, just a whole ridiculous process by that time. So, it could have been more difficult for me. It's difficult for a lot of people,
Yeah.
but I was able to manage.
Because you're before going in, I was thinking about just our whole history before. It's just like you're just always out of the box thinker, like as far as like
Right.
business, and you're always science and mathematicking the way out, like different ways in and out, right? Because like
Right.
I remember you had the hip hop driving school.
The hip hop traffic school, yeah.
Your
The
traffic
original
school?
hip hop traffic school.
Like just like thinking like that. So you're always like peeping the scene,
Absolutely.
right? Seeing what you have, what you need. And so when you're like saying you got in, that was like, of course.
I had
Of
to send a
course.
letter. How many black people do you have over in your firehouse right now?
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to be creative. You have to, so you got to appeal to what they need, the voice that they need to feel, and put it on, put yourself on their radar.
Yeah, so smart, man. So smart. Always and forever. So I wanted to ask, I remember when you were transitioning out and you weren't fully out yet, but I saw that we had all those crazy fires on top of a pandemic, right? And then they were utilizing some of I don't know if they did your old crew at that facility, but they were utilizing a lot of prison firefighters to risk their lives to go in those and to help out because they needed all hands on deck. And I don't know if it went through, but it said like they were going to try to make it so that those on the prison firefighter teams
Get their records expunged.
Get their records expunged. And I was asking you what you thought of that, and you're like, I don't think it would be for your crew, but I don't know what happened with that and what you thought of that.
That passed. It's because they basically another way for them to, because it benefits them. It benefits the state and the fire department. They want to expunge. If you were on a hand crew, those are the people that go out there and cut the fire lines and things like that. I was in the firehouse. So the hand crew is that's basically all they do is they go out there and pretty much cut fire lines and things like that. I was in a firehouse, so I was actually a firefighter where we did more structure fires, we did institutional fires, we hazmat and a lot of medical. So because that's not paid for by Cal Fire, because the firehouses are actually part of the state, like the prison.
Yeah.
Then it didn't apply for us. We didn't have an outside agency fighting for them. They didn't. I was already gone by this time, but they didn't have an outside agency fighting for them, lobbying for them, saying, "Hey, we need them." That's why even Cal Fire, they got raises. They were making a lot better money than inmates at any of the CDCR firehouses. Even though we go out and save lives every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They cut fire lines, which is also very important. But we're getting paid by basically the institution, where they're getting paid by an outside private business, private company.
Got it.
So
it's crazy. But you it's crazy the training that you received.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
Invaluable. You'll have that forever. And so one thing I wanted to mention, I'll have it in the show notes, is that, if people are like, what are you talking about? The school to prison pipeline, and what are you talking about? It's just another form of slavery. If you're asking those types of questions, I believe you should definitely watch 13th by Ava DuVernay. It's on Netflix. It's an eye-opener for so many people. When it came out, I think it came out a couple years ago. And she basically, it's a documentary, gorgeous visually, with stats and the history of slavery to now, and how it's big business, and how it's basically built against Black and brown and marginalized communities, indigenous communities. So definitely we'll have it in the show notes. One thing that I think I was trying to talk to you when I saw you, but I think the Supernatural Bear was around. But it just boggles my mind, because your nephew is so fucking smart. You know this. He's been here before. He's not new to this world. He's been here many times before. He's so intelligent. And when we go visit you, we went to visit. You were at 2 different facilities. We went to the 2 different facilities. But he was really young at the first one. But he was old enough and he would ask all kinds of questions, figure all kinds of things out. And I was like, he's going to figure out what this place is.
We were just all waiting.
Yeah, we were just waiting. We weren't going to say anything, but we're like, let's go, And he'd ask little questions like, oh, he at the end, I think the last time we went, I think he kind of started noticing. He was like, why do they all dress? We're like, oh, that's the uniform. You know what I mean? But I was wondering,
work camp.
Yeah, work camp. So we were telling him that, and you were saying that to him and stuff, and because he knows police officers and stuff. He never asked why there were police officers and why we had to go through bar. It was. I was like, It's so interesting to me that he never realized. So one thing we'll get into in a little bit is your book that you're doing with your daughter, my niece, and I saw the video first, and I was like, oh. He's finally gonna understand where we're going to visit. So I'll have a link to that too. And so when you say, they're like, oh, because reunited with his daughter because he was 12 years in prison. He was like, he said, prison. What? He was watching. He was like, what?
Don't they mean work camp?
Exactly. He was like, what? And we were telling. He was like, oh, I had no idea. It was crazy.
He told me. He told me that. He said, hey. Uncle Big Jae, can I ask you something? I said, yeah, sure, you can ask me anything. He was like, so I was watching the news when they were talking about you and my cousin Jalen writing the books, and it mentioned that you were in prison. Like, I thought you were at a work camp. Like, what did you do? If you don't mind me asking, what did you do to be in prison? I'm like,
Crazy.
wow.
See, I know
It
it's
was great.
crazy. Like it never hit him, and I was like, we told him we're like you have a conversation with your Uncle Big Jae. You're old enough, this is his business. You talk to him. He's like, okay, but we're like, he's like, I didn't know. I go, what did you think? I go, you didn't realize? He goes, no. He goes, I thought it was just work, just work camp and da 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 da, and like he never made the connection either because crazy respect. I will have to say this again, crazy respect to your wife, my sister-in-law Lupita,
Shout out to Lupita.
because
Shout out to
ride
Lupita.
or
Love you.
die for
Ride or die.
12 years.
Ride or die.
Ride or die for 12 years. She was there every weekend, unless it was on lockdown. She was there on the holidays when they do the special things. She would make that drive up. Wherever you were, she'd make that drive up. She'd spend the night so she could spend as many days as possible. She's the one who told us how to get in, what we needed to dress, how we applied, how we got the thing. Like, and we would always forget, right? Because we're not going every weekend. So I'll be like, look, what is it? What can I wear again?
Right.
And, what can I take in for a little man and stuff like that? I mean, respect. Like, not everyone gets that. That must have been... How was that for you to have that that stability during this crazy time?
It was a blessing. It just felt it. Basically, it was my grounding. You know what I mean? It would made me know that I'd be able to, do this.
Yeah.
Like, I knew I could do it. I'd do it whatever I got to do anyway, but do it easier, do it without, because people don't realize if you don't have that kind of support, not just regular family support, but you don't have that inspirational support from your significant other, it just makes things like, 10 times, 100 times harder for some people. So to know I had that type of loyalty, and also, when people are in there and they have to question their relationship, or they question where this person is going, or why don't you come visit me anymore? What are you doing? You're not answering your phone. That takes someone's time, like the hardness on a scale of 1 to 10 of their time, from a 3 to a 10 real quick.
Oh, I bet.
And that's going to cause them to get into other problems, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So something like that, and not it just would make things a lot more difficult. So yeah, she's definitely queen for that. And it was never a time she didn't want to visit. It was never a time she didn't visit if it was at all possible.
Yeah.
Always answered every call. Made sure I needed for nothing. Like,
Yeah.
she was great, and that's rare. That's really rare. And a lot of times you could kind of tell the inmates that have somebody that's holding them down like that, and the ones that don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could kind of feel that energy.
Or the ones that can't, right?
Or the ones that can't.
You know what I'm saying? Because maybe they want to, but the thing that a lot of people don't understand is, like, when you go in, it costs. And when you go in, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go to the closest facility, closest prison by where you live, where you came from. People don't understand that. Like, they're going to put you wherever there's room, however they want to. So,
hardship letters.
Yeah,
you gotta work the system just like the system's working you. You have to learn. And that's why I said, like, when you not scared of paperwork, or having your family make phone calls and things like that, then you can't have the attitude. A lot of inmates, they get the attitude. I used to try and help them with letters or giving them direction too on, well, wherever they send me, because you don't want to one thing you don't want to do is get your hopes up and they get disappointed, because it'll make their time harder. So they're like, you get a lot of people that is just like, wherever they send me, whatever it is, that's what it is. I don't care. I don't want to make myself care, because then I could fall. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm just always overly optimistic anyway. I'm just super optimistic.
Yeah, you're a
so
positive guy.
Yeah, I didn't really, I'm always going to shoot for the best scenario, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go all out to try and get myself in that best scenario. So, I was fortunate, I was blessed. I put in hardship letters. Um, you know, tried to stay as close as possible. They tried to send me out of state. Okay, for I gotta figure out what are the ways to stay in state. What would
Yeah.
make it, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I gotta go there. I gotta figure out. Okay, well, they can't. I don't want to say too much, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
yeah,
but like not everyone has that. And that's a life skill. That's like something that you would be doing in any situation, whether it was a
any
situation
situation.
you're in, that's you. And I think that's something that like I have in common with your big brother. I have in common with you, with a lot of people in my life. It's like it wouldn't matter. I said this in one of the relatives, I think the last relatives episode. It's like it didn't we all come from fucked up backgrounds, right?
Right.
And trauma, generational trauma, and all kinds of shit. But I feel like we have that spirit. Maybe we've been here before, like the supernatural bear, like we've been here before or something. But I feel like you, your brother, me, and a lot of people I know that you put us. We would have been born in any family. We would have had that figured outness,
No matter
like
what.
no matter what with or without education. Like
Yeah,
it's
you
just in us to like
to figure it out.
what
Okay.
and see
Okay.
we see it, we see the big picture, we're not,
Mm-hmm.
it's like we're on that other side of the matrix, like you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
like we see the real shit and it's just like
We,
how do we figure it out? Let me do the research, you
we're not
know.
gonna we're not gonna stand at the front door and just keep banging on the locked door. We're gonna step back and just look at the whole house. And does that look like a window upstairs open on the second floor? And okay, how do we go? You know what I mean? How we get to
Yeah,
that? We're gonna,
yeah,
and that's, man, it's a great trait. Yeah, we definitely all have it.
yeah. And I feel like you're very fortunate that you were naturally born with that, and then there's a lot of people that maybe have it in them, but for whatever reason, their state of mind, I'm sure, going in there and also not having the support and going back to, people getting sent out of state, be people getting sent like upstate, no,
And
in the to the north or whatever.
it's also financial too. It costs to they put people so far, so you gotta be able to drive up there. If it's a 4 hour drive and you can't, or 5 hour
That's what I'm
drive,
saying.
now you got to go out there. You might have to get a room, so then all the hotels around prisons generally cost more, or the
Because they
motels,
know they're
because
making that money. Ugh.
so you got to. And then if you have kids, like it's a huge financial burden. So it's a lot of families that want to be able to visit their loved ones
But
and
they
they just
can't.
can't. And the
Yeah.
prisons need to make it easier, find a way. And what they don't do consciously, or they don't do as a matter of policy, is keep people close to where their family is. They don't care.
They don't care
They,
because they know,
they
oh, let's make it as hard as possible so that these motherfuckers
mm-hmm,
come back in because we can
mm-hmm.
keep getting this money, getting these contracts and this and that. And it's terrible. But you're right about the hotels. I forgot about that because one time at your old facility, the Supernatural Bear and I went solo and we met up with Lupita and we got a
Mm-hmm.
hotel. And I remember
Right.
I was like, how much am I paying for this fucking hotel right now? Like,
On
this
the
ain't
real.
5 stars. Like, I was like, what? I was like, well, we'll do it. But
Mm-hmm.
what? And then we did it one time. Like usually we just do the drive up for the day. It was like 4 hours, right? But we did it with the Supernatural Bear and I. We would do like, oh, let's go up one time, and we did at the last facility we were at, and still, it was a little nicer because it's a nicer area, but still, I was like, for a Motel 6.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's the kind of like their way of saying, well, we don't really want you family of inmates visiting us, but if you are, we're gonna get you. We're gonna
Yeah,
gouge you.
yeah,
So
for sure, man. So let's get into something maybe a little funner, a little interesting. A lot of people asked the Okie Dog story, Okie Dog Crips, Okie Dog Crip.
shout out Merce.
So we'll
Shout
have a
out
link to
Merce.
it in
Go
the
cop his
show
new album.
in the show notes as well. That he made a song about you. How did you know that this song was coming out about you, or did someone tell you after the fact? How did that work?
Actually, I talked to Rock.
Mm.
So I remember I was I was talking to Rock. I'm gonna go into too many
Yeah.
details, but yeah, I was talking to Rock, and he had told me that Murs had hit him up and said, and let him know, like, hey, because me and Murs go way back. So he had hit him up and say, hey, I wrote a song about your brother, about Jay, and I just wanted to get your blessing or his blessing on it, and go forward with it. So before I didn't even hear anything. It's Merce, that's my boy. It's all respect and love. So I was just like, for sure.
Yeah.
Rock told me the title. I was like, oh, it's a go. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
So how
So
much of that, there's a video, I have a link. How much of that song is true? Like, did you always win and that's why you always started shit? Do you want to support original content that supports diverse voices? Why not support Word to Your Mama? You're listening to it right now. Become a patron. Head over to patreon.com/WTYM. There are 4 patron levels to choose from, including Good Looking Out, I'm Down, Hell Yeah, and Please Believe It. Benefits include patron shoutouts, exclusive patron-only content, and so much more. Head on over to patreon.com/WTYM to take your support to the next level. Gracias.
it's not why I always started shit, but I mean, alcohol was the reason I almost always started shit. But no, it was fun a lot of times. You drink, you get into shit. It wasn't too much to worry about. Like, at the end of the day, it's another story to tell,
Yeah.
and talk about, or people talk about it like, oh man, you see what Jay did? Oh, Jay's crazy. So, but unless it was like multiple people, I pretty much always won. But sometimes I just go ham at a club or something, and it might be multiple people, and I wouldn't get hurt, but I can't say I won. But you know what I mean. But when it's anybody, when it was basically 1-on-1 or anything like that, then my stats are really good.
That's really good.
My stats, yeah.
So I saw when you got out, I saw you wearing the shirt. So did you see him, or did you just go to get yourself an Okie Dog? So Okie Dog is a place where you can
Okie
get.
Dog's is a real restaurant. I grew up on the street, where on Sycamore, like in West LA, off Sycamore and Pico. So I grew up. That's one of the streets over here on that side that I grew up on. And basically, I was from for years on Okie Dog. My mom didn't cook. She went down there, started off when we first moved over there, and just gave it was just a local burger stand, a $10 check, and said, hey, can you just hold this check so my kids could come eat when, if they're starving or something. And at the end of each week, I'll just, whatever they ran up on that $10 check, I'll pay you in cash, and you just keep holding the check. And then that turned into just, being able to, like, over the years, being able to run up $100 tabs over there just because they knew me. And that was like, my little hangout, and that was me. People say, where you from? Everybody used to gang bang over there. So they, different hoods, especially during the peace treaty. But even before that, you had, the Mansfields, you had schoolyards that used to come hang out over there for their time. You had a couple of boys from Broadway. Yeah. Just I could just keep naming ones that would be over there. Raymond's for sure was over there.
So it's like that area. Is it kind of like a center point or somewhere in between where all the different type of neighborhoods, all the different sets? Is that why so many different people hung out there from different sets?
Nah, it was the chicks that live right upstairs next door to me. They were the center point. That's why all the different sets used to hang out there. Keep it 100.
I see.
One day they fucking with the schoolyard. So if they got over there and was fucking with them first, and that's who it'd be 30 schoolyards hanging out in the building, hanging over the fence with their guns out and beanies on. You know what I mean? If the Mansfields got over there and they hanging out with the chicks, then, it's going to be 30 Mansfields over there hanging out. You know what I mean? So, and it was totally different vibe too. Like, it was totally dependent on who was there. But people ask me where I'm from. I'm just from the street. I'm from Okie Dog. You know what I mean? So they used to think it was funny, but I used to say it with a little conviction. It was this little this little young dude is crazy. They used to
So
always let me know.
how old were you when the legend of Okie Dog, you as Okie Dog, started? Like when you started getting crazy and doing all that stuff. Like how old were you?
Um, I want to say 14, 15, probably like around 15 when I really started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always been me, but probably like around, I really started like blossoming, probably like 15, started really like
Awesome.
hanging out, you know what I mean? Like,
Shout out to your mom. Shout out to Ani for
shout out moms,
to
not
having
me.
the foresight. Like, listen, let me just give you this check. Feed my
Oh, yeah.
kids because I don't cook.
Oh, yeah. She always figured out a way. She's a good mom. She always gonna make sure that we're good, that we could, that we're taken care of, no matter what the obstacle was. So now just one obstacle. There was a problem. She didn't really cook. We didn't sometimes have money to, for the food. So all right, I have it by Friday. You know what I mean? So I just let them
Yeah.
eat now.
So
So
okie dog. Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, and then basically as far as like things aren't really legendary till people tell the stories back. So it was just me just doing me and just hanging out, and I be out there. I really didn't really care about too much what people thought. So, and then I like doing things. I just like it. I like the tension. So, sometimes I got to one up myself. Like,
You're your own competition.
I'm my own competition. That's how I used to look at things. So, and then especially when I get faded, like a lot of people, when they get faded, they just go on go on one even more.
Yeah.
So, and then just the stories will build up, and then that's why eventually it's like this dude, when you really think about everything, this dude is crazy. This dude is ridiculous. Look at. Yeah.
So like there was a time where I would be drinking and I'd go out, and if I went out with one of your nephew's uncles, Joe, Jose, we were told we could no longer go out, drink, and hang out with each other because we'd start shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we're talking about like anywhere, like a straight place, or we go to the gay clubs, we'll go and just like knock fools. Like it wasn't a good scene. It wasn't a good look. And I was thinking like, some of the people that are going to be listening to this know of some incidents where, I get into it and stuff with people, and it's like, that was another time. And I've been going to therapy for the past couple of years, and just looking back at like, I didn't know I was holding on to all this anger. Do you know what I'm saying? Like all this
Yeah.
rage, and like, my actions were like, oh, I'm gonna stand up for the underdog, and
Yeah, that's how I was.
right, like
Yeah.
because, and then when you do the therapy and stuff, it's just like, oh, because I was the underdog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, nobody was standing up for me, like, back in the days, I guess. And that's, like, that anger. So I'm, like, always kind of, people know me as loud and, and I'm not shy and stuff like that. And it's just because, like, I'm always, like, I don't like injustice. I don't like someone that is shy or quiet or doesn't have a voice. Like, I always want to be a protector or be the one that
Yeah,
stands up for them and
you
stuff.
don't like
And
bullies.
I don't like bullies,
I don't
exactly.
like
And
bullies,
but
exactly.
then there's like that element to it, but then there's also like just like, I don't know, a certain mix of certain things, and just like this rage would come up. So you're saying like that was similar for you. Where do you think that I don't give a fuckness, that rage and all that stuff with the combo of the drinking, it would come out a little bit more? Where do you think that stems from for you?
I don't know. I wouldn't really call it a rage. I'd say I agree with that. I don't give a fuckness, but I wouldn't say as a rage. I would maybe call it. I'm just passionate. So, so if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna go all in. So it's not really a rage. It's just if I'm doing it, I'm doing the most. You know what I mean? So if something makes me mad, I'm gonna be real mad. If something makes me so sad, I'm gonna be real sad. So it's not rage. It's just
Like
I'm
the
just
extreme and
very
passion of whatever, either
you,
way, to whatever direction, it's a
right.
passion. You go full blown. Because, your nephew, especially when he was little, we were like, he was a baby. We're like, this motherfucker is strong as fuck. And I was like, I get it. He has the Korean Han. Do you know what the Korean Han is that you have
Nah,
as well? So,
uh-uh.
so
The
if you look
fire
at,
like that.
it's like this from womb. You go
Hmm.
like from womb, Koreans especially, because you know how they say generational trauma, it's epigenetics, it's in your DNA, right? Passed down
Hmm.
from your ancestors down to you. And if you look up Korean Han, it's because Koreans how they got fucked over during all of world history by the Japanese, by the Chinese, like they always got fucked with. It's this generational like rage that's like there from birth, right? And then he's Mexican, so he has Mexican rage. And
Hmm.
Mexicans, we got that rage, and it comes
Oh
out when
yeah.
we've been wronged. So I was like, oh shit, of course he has Korean Han and he has the Mexican rage. So like I feel like you guys all have that Korean Han. Like it's just like this. You don't like bullies. You don't like you've just always this kind of like you're born with like a chip on your shoulder, like, yo, I gotta prove, show and prove. I have to,
I want to say like I got in more. I would get in more stuff and more things for other people than for myself. Like I'd be quick to to jump into something for somebody else quicker than I would for myself. At least sober.
at least
Like
sober. But
at
but
least
uh,
sober.
but drinking
At,
was okey dog time.
Drinking was okay all the time, but also it was the same way. It was just took less.
Got it.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just a more of a hairpin trigger, but it was still generally for the most part for other people. Like if I'm with somebody and somebody was being some kind of way with them,
Yeah.
you know that's then I'm not gonna wait for a bat signal or nothing like that. I'm just we was just gonna go in. So. Um, I think it was more for other people than it was for myself. It was just, I didn't mind at all.
How do you think that looking back at 13, 14-year-old Bib, okey dog timers, the beginning of okey dog timers, and now, how do you think you've changed?
Now I look back, and even though that guy, people like thought a lot of things I did was cool back then and all that. I wouldn't want to be that dude right now today.
Mm.
Like, it's the same way that I would hope that a lot of rappers that promote negativity,
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of feel like they should not be looking back, telling their story and promoting all the things that they did. They should be looking back and kind of feel ashamed or talk about why they shouldn't do that, or talk people out of that life, not glamorize it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel. Like, yeah, it was cool. It was cool to
At the
have a story
time.
and stuff at the time,
Yeah.
but looking back on it, I was a lot of that stuff was foolish. A lot of that stuff. I mean, I'm so blessed and lucky that you know a lot of that stuff didn't catch up with me or didn't go different ways really easily. It could have
Yeah.
went, it could have went a lot of different ways. So, looking back on it, I wouldn't want to be that person. It doesn't matter the stories or things like that. I wouldn't want to be that person today.
So you,
I'd
because
rather be more
you've
positive.
evolved, you've evolved.
Exactly.
Because
I'd
and
rather
some
be a
people
little
don't
more.
do that. They're stuck in whatever, and for whatever reason, they don't evolve, and that's what we all have to do till the day we die.
Exactly. Like there's qualities of that's always going to be with me. I'm always going to be
Yeah.
a go-getter. I'm always going to be,
Yeah.
passionate. But as far as the follies, as far as like the negative stuff or things that could have been handled different, or the, hustling instead of hard working, and it's a whole bunch of other things that went with that character that I wouldn't, that I'm not proud of. It was cool, it was fun, but at the end of the day, it took me 12 years in prison reflecting on that, You know what I mean? And I don't even feel like that's what got me in prison. But I still had 12 years to sit down and think about who I was,
Yeah,
before I went to prison. So,
that makes sense. So let's talk about how you're reconnecting with Jalen right now. Like
I,
let's talk about how it was to see her and how this new project started.
all right. Um, so I guess I could start from being able to go to the program. So I went from the firehouse. Basically, I worked my way down each yard on the level yards. Ended up at the firehouse. From the firehouse, ended up able to go to an MCRP, where you could spend the last year of your time at a program that's actually on the street. So you're still incarcerated, but you're spending your time on the streets, where you can get a job and you do all that. So I went to the program. 2 weeks after, no, 2 days, 2 days after I got the program. I got there on March 17th. On March 19th, everything got shut down because of COVID.
Yeah.
You know, so we at the program we were allowed to have cell phones. So finally, we were able to have a legit cell phone. So I was able to actually reach out and talk to my daughter, and talk to you and all the family and everybody.
I remember you
But
were like, this feels weird. Like, it feels like I'm not supposed to be able to do this.
yeah. Oh, the
We're
whole
FaceTiming, you remember? You're just like,
yeah, knock on the door. I'm hiding it. I just forget. Doesn't matter how much they told me that no, you can have them. So I hear a footstep. I'm hiding it. It was crazy. It was like I think the whole time I was there, I'd never had my ringer on or anything. And I didn't have it on vibrate, had it totally on silent, didn't want to take any chances. It took so much adjusting to be like, oh
oh,
wait,
I bet.
we can have these. But so I had access to a phone now. I could actually call her and talk, talk longer than 15 minutes, and talk on a regular basis, So um, I realized I didn't have that much to say real quick. Like, you know what I mean? Like I got 15 minutes worth of conversation. I got so used to over the time having to be quick and touch the surface. How are you? How's the family? How's everything? How's your grandmother? How's your grandfather? How's school?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right, do you need anything? And run through the whole gambit in 15 minutes. That I felt like that's what I was doing, when we would talk. And then I would get off the phone like, I didn't know what else to say. And I told my wife that. And then I would tell my sister, Princess, Yamara Taylor. Shout out Yamara Taylor. Go watch the new Saved by the Bell.
Future guest of the podcast.
Yeah, future guest here. Um, but she would always be like, "Did you talk to Jalen? Did you talk to Jalen? Oh, that's cool. What'd you guys talk about?" And I really, yeah, I talked to her, but it got to the point where I'd be like, oh yeah, I talked to her the other day, or I talked to her, and she'd be like, what? You didn't talk to her today? Like, I want to, but I don't know what to say, and I don't want her to feel like I don't want it to be awkward,
Yeah.
like, for her, and it felt awkward to me because I didn't really know what to say. So I started thinking like, okay, we need something. I need to come up with something, just like you said, we figure out a way.
Yeah.
So I feel like, okay, I need to figure out something that'll give us a reason or make us have to talk. Like, okay, I always get all these ideas. I got to come up with an idea I could do with my daughter, And so I would brainstorm. I would keep Rock on the phone, hour, 2 hours. Rock, what about this idea? What about this idea? Because he always gives like the best advice.
He does.
So Rock, what about this idea? What about this idea? And I remember I mentioned I was like, well, what do you think about, children's? He was like, damn, that's a great idea. No, I said, I started off with a children's character. Like, I want to, it'd be cool to build a children's character. And, or something. I don't know if he said it or I said it. But then I think he had mentioned like, no, I think he said the children's character. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then that made me think like I could do a book to build up the character, because he was telling me that. So, so I'm like, okay, well, I could. So that made me think like I could do a book. And he was like, yeah, that's you could definitely do a book. Da, da, da. So we talked about that for a while, and then I got off the phone and I called my daughter and was like, hey, you want to do it? Because I already ran a couple other ideas by. I ran, like just on some just ideas, not thinking like, oh, we could do this together.
Yeah.
But just yeah, I always get ideas, so I was using that as a reason to talk to her. Like, hey, I had an idea. What about this? So this one, I was like, hey, want to write a children's book with me? Like, and she was like, yeah, sure. And I think it just she agreed because she was just I think happy to have me back, and she was wanted to be supportive however she could. So she
Yeah.
probably thought like, okay, I'll do it to support my dad. He wants to write a children's book. Fine, we'll write a book.
Yeah.
I could have said let's build cars from scratch. She would have said, okay, sure, I'll help whatever I could do. And then so we started brainstorming like, okay, what could it be about? So then we came up with I mentioned what about the pandemic? And then from that point on, something clicked. She was like, yeah, oh yeah, okay, that's good. So then we started brainstorming more like, okay, we can help children, learn about the pandemic, and we broke down like the three most important rules. And I think once she's seen that we could, really make a difference and do something that was actually, that would contribute to society and be fun and for kids, then she like really jumped in. And then when she really jumped in, I was all in. It made us communicate. It gave us that communication I was looking for,
Mm.
because even if I had to call, we had to talk. We was writing the books. We was trying to really hurry up and get them out. So we would talk 20 times a day. You know what I
Nice.
mean? So in those conversations, we're talking about, okay, so what else is going on? Oh, Dad, I gotta call you back because I got to do my podcast. Shout out Jalen Taylor.
That's
Uh,
right. I'll put a link to her podcast too.
okay, cool. Cheers and tears. So she'd have to tell me. Oh, I gotta call you back because okay, so that's one more thing. So what's going on with that? Okay, so oh, Dad, I gotta do the schoolwork. Okay, so how's your class going?
Yeah.
So it organically more involved me in her life, and it
Yeah.
was great. And then every time we got off the phone, it was okay, I love you, talk to you later. Okay, I love you, bye, daddy. So you know what I
Oh.
mean. So it
Yeah.
basically organically like put us back in each other's lives and force that communication without it being conscious. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we haven't turned back. So it's
And
just been.
you guys turned it around quick. So how long was it before? Because you got in. When did it start? And because you were cranking shit out, like you guys have the
Yeah,
books.
we went, we was going like, so we started, I think, working on the books. I want to say, so I got there in March.
Staying competitive in these dynamic times means having the right technology at work for your small or medium sized business. Whether your goal is to grow, downsize, or modernize, Panoply BPO provides the right combination of tools, support, and affordability necessary to make it a reality. Visit panoplybpo.com. That's PANOPLYBPO.com to schedule your no obligation consultation today. Mention WTYM and get your 13th month of service for free. PanoplyBPO.com. There is a better way.
Came up with the idea. I got the toward, I think, the beginning of April. And we had the first book out in August. And we had the second book out that was the first book was from the Pixie Poochie and the Puppy Demic series was Pixie Finds a Mask, because I think
Mm-hmm.
that was the biggest thing going on right there. So we felt
Yeah.
like, excuse me, we need to get this one out first, because right now everybody's being forced to wear a mask. It was all the debate. You had the no maskers or whatever they're calling themselves, and
Yeah.
you had the maskers, and so we were thinking like, kids got to be scared right now. Like, I mean, kids got to, if animals, they bark when they see you in mask. So imagine kids don't get to recognize people's face or see them
Yeah.
smile, and they're meeting somebody or seeing them. They don't get to see the smile to sense that the positive energy in the smile. Then they got to be spooked. So we thought we had to hurry up and get that one out. So we got that one out, and then the stories were just flowing. So after that one, month and a half later, still in September, we got the second one out, and
And what's the second one called?
the second one is Pixie Learns to Wash Her Paws.
Mm-hmm. And then what's the third one called?
Third one is Pixie Practices Social Distancing.
And how many languages is it available in?
It's in two. It's in English and Spanish. www.pixiefuchi.com.
That's right. We'll have the links to that. And when we talked about earlier, you being on, did we talk? Well, I don't know if we talked about you being on the news. Oh yeah, you being on the news because Supernatural Bear saw you on the news. We'll have a link to that. You've been on the news twice now.
Twice, yeah.
With your story of reconnecting. They call it like reconnecting with your daughter and then just pushing this book. I mean, you guys did that shit in a couple of months. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Full-blown books.
Books. It was amazing, the process and how we were able to put it all together. And, you know, the family all supported whichever way they could. You supported.
Of
cover
course.
Designs.
It's family. It's family. It's family. But yeah, and then, you know, some schools might be picking it up and it might be readily available in other places. And what else?
Yeah. We're in talks with LAUSD right now. We're trying to get we're registered as a vendor for them. We're trying to get it in the LAUSD schools.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're waiting to hear back from Los Angeles Public Library to get it so it's on the buy list for all the LA County libraries. Yeah, we're trying to get it in child cares. We have it in a couple of schools already as a pilot program. We have in a couple of child cares. If you know anybody that, you know, has a child care or that teaches or anything like that wants to add the curriculum, we have a curriculum that we put together for it. It's accessible online for people that are teaching, you know, over the internet and could do screen share. So we have an online platform or web portal.
Nice.
Yeah, we're just putting it all together. Oh, mentioning the news, it's funny because the first time that we were on the news was in August, and I got in trouble at the program where I was at for being on the news. It was great. It was great. But it was just a reminder that about, you know, the things that need to be changed with the system.
Yeah.
You know, it would be different if I got on the news for something negative or anything like that, or if I broke a rule.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things you can't argue with them, or you really get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, so, but they commended me, and then they were like, "Oh, with a heavy heart, we still got to, you know, issue some kind of discipline." But yeah.
But it doesn't matter because you're out now.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't take it back.
Oh, let's do this. Yes, because you're out. So I'm gonna have all the links.
CDSLA.
Yes,
I'll
have links to all that shit. And so buy the books. Like he said, it's in English and Espanol. And if you have any programs that you guys want this to be a part of, I'll have all the information for him so that you can hit them up and get all into that. So I know I said I only need you for an hour. Do you have time for these questions before you leave? All right.
Sure.
Questions from the audience first, and then we'll get into the other questions. Questions from the audience. You're going to know immediately who's this from because of the question. Who is your favorite little sister that you've lived with?
I'm going to have to say Yamara Taylor, Princess, a.k.a. Pooter.
Okay, another question.
Shout out, Princess.
Shout out to
Yam the God at Yam the God on IG. Love you.
The serious question out of her questions is, what do you think your biggest takeaway from the last 12 years was?
Be myself, you know, because that's what got me through everything. You know what I mean? It's just being myself. And it's so many people try and pull you in different directions and things like that. But you just got to stay true to yourself and just be yourself.
Okay. Next question is from your older sister,
Wait, don't tell me
Trudy.
who they're from. I'll guess. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
What was it? How was it? Sorry. How was it driving through LA when you returned? And what do you miss or not miss about the city?
Um, it was crazy. I still feel like a tourist
I
out here.
bet.
So driving through the city was kind of like if I was almost driving through, like even Okie Dog was gone. It was moved.
Yeah.
So I went to the new location for it. You know what I mean? So basically they got islands in the middle of Pico right now. They regentrified, South Central, so
Right?
go to Crenshaw and Stocker, the liquor bank is gone.
Crazy.
Uh, so just driving through LA was not like driving through LA for me. It was, I just, everything was different. So
That tourist vibe.
I felt like a tourist. As a lot of things, I still feel like a tourist. Um, and then I'm going to places that I haven't been to, and things are weird. The bank was weird. Yogurt Land is weird. Let me see. What else? I had some weird experiences. Like that's probably normal, but for me, it was just weird. Like the whole chip thing is weird on
Oh,
cards
shit.
now.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I went in, that was just like a logo. That was just like, oh look, it's like a picture. It was just like a picture. You didn't know when you used the chip. You
Yeah.
know, I went in the bank the other day and I was armed with my PIN number. I knew. I was like, okay, because last time they got me, like I don't remember my PIN number from 12 years ago. You know what I mean? So I had the card. I was ready to swipe it. And the dude was
Yeah.
like, yeah, use the chip. I said the strip. Okay. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. I'm using the strip. He's like, no, the chip. I said the strip, dude. Like, I got my pin. I got my pin number. I wanted to tell him, like, dude, I just got out of prison. Because I felt self conscious. It made me feel self conscious. It
Yeah.
took me from feeling 10 feet tall to feeling like 2 feet tall. Just something simple like that. Like,
Yeah.
dude, what are you talking about? And then I guess wifey seen me like looking confused, so she came over like, no, you got to do this, baby. Well, I talked to other people and they were like, dude, I had the same problem, but I wasn't even in prison. It was just they changed over
No,
to a new
that's real.
system.
That's real.
So,
That happened to me in the
so
beginning. I'm like, what? The chip? Oh, I stick this in? Like, you know what I mean? It was a transition too. So that's
yeah.
crazy.
And then it
Um,
was
I got a couple more questions, and these are from your big brother, Rocka.
shout out Rocka, Dilated People, love you, bro.
What book that you read made the biggest impact on you or change in you while you were there?
Um, that's a good question. I've read like 1,000 books while I was in there. But I'm gonna say, and this one I don't know if a lot of people heard of it. It's called The 4 Hour Work Week,
Yeah.
and it's by Tim Ferriss.
Yep.
And I'm gonna say that one because it it supported that I wasn't. It told me I wasn't crazy, like because I always felt that and I always expressed that, and like the same things that he taught. Like there's a smarter way. If you do things a certain kind of way, you don't have to work as hard. It's all about working smart, and you know what I mean. And you could basically choose and form your life around the way you want it, and there's ways to do it. You don't have to follow. Basically, you don't have to follow the mode just because everybody else is running a rat race. You don't have to. You don't have to do it. There's a way to live the way you want to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that one because it just basically told me I wasn't crazy for thinking the way I've always thought in those regards as far as business and jobs and all that stuff. And then I also I read it before, but Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read it like probably about 30 times. So I like that
Yeah.
one. I think let me see. I think that might be it. I like the Alchemist.
Yeah, it's classic. Everyone should,
Yeah,
no matter
Rock
where
the
you're from,
yeah,
no matter where you're at, everyone should read that and then reread it later. I was just thinking
right.
about that book the other day too, because there's a lot
Rock
of
put me on
people
that
that
a
I
long time
follow. They're
ago.
like, you know, reread it. It's time to
Right,
reread it. Because you
right,
forget and you have to reread it to absorb it again, or like, maybe it's dormant in your brain and you have to like get those principles out again and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, podcasts have been a really crazy, great savior for me pre-pandemic, during the pandemic. And I love Tim Ferriss, and he has a podcast called The Tim Ferriss Show.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll really like that.
I'll definitely check it out. I'll
Yeah.
definitely tune in.
And
He also has a book that's really cool too called The 4 Hour Body.
he also has another book, and I could have sworn I sent it to you, but maybe I did it. The Tribe of Mentors.
Uh-uh.
I'm going to get to that book. So it's
Okay,
him.
awesome.
So that book is crazy good because it's him, and he reached out to the best people in all walks of life and asked them 11, I think 10 or 11 questions. And he specifically has these questions in a specific order so that it gets certain types of answers out of everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he asked, like, the CEO of this, or one of the best, this, or from all walks of life. And it's just hella thick, and it's just, I need to buy it. I actually, I think I checked it out maybe. And so I was just looking, I was just like absorbing it. I was like, this is amazing. And then he also has at the end some really good no's that he got because he emailed all these people, because he knows all the people because of his books and his podcast. And he's like, I thought it was really important to add the no's, because you have to know first. A lot of the successful people,
You got to get no's.
they have to learn how to say no, right? Because you got to learn how to spend your energy. You know what I'm saying? You can't just give it all out, and you have to be like, work smarter, not harder. So he's like the no's. I got some real impressive no's, and so he has those in there. But it's like hella thick. So I'll get to that book.
Awesome.
Okay, let's see. What degree or degrees did you earn while you were away?
Official degrees, I earned 3 associate's degrees in college. I earned my bachelor's degree, and I earned paralegal and advanced paralegal certificates.
Please believe it. Yes.
I wasn't in there wasting time.
Exactly. You were doing the time. You weren't letting the time do you.
That part.
The last question from your big brother is, most of the country is doing distance education these days. Some people taking it better than others. Do you find that being away made it easier or harder to focus on finishing your degree programs?
I think it made it easier. I think it made it easier for me because I didn't want to waste the time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like that was the best thing I could be doing with my time, and there was no distractions. I mean, there's regular, everyday distractions, but not fun distractions.
Yeah.
There weren't any fun distractions to keep me from doing it. That was the fun distraction from all the nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the what you look forward to. Okay, I'm just about to focus on this book. I don't care what's going on around me. I'm about to just get this stuff done and feel good about myself for doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was a lot easier, I think, by doing it in there.
And do you think it also was kind of like a control thing, because you didn't have any control over, like, everyone at the system, what you were in was controlling you, but you had control over this. Like, I can read this book, I can do this work, and I'm going to have an outcome, and I'm in control of that.
I mean, that definitely plays a part in it, because they could be like, all right, no program, everybody in the cell, everybody on your bunks, everybody this, everybody that, and you can always pull out a book.
Yeah.
And do it from there. So that definitely played a part in it. I think more than anything else, though, the inspiration was when I was earning my bachelor's, my daughter was earning hers too.
Nice.
And once I told her that I was doing that, I felt like I couldn't stop. Even when it would be times I was like, you know what? Do I really need it? Like, is it, won't it just be canceled out by the fact that I went to prison, that that I'm an inmate, things like that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it would get discouraging. Like, am I doing this for nothing? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, maybe it will cancel that out. Maybe I need something to cancel.
To cancel it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if it does cancel it out, at least I'm at a blank slate rather than a negative in the hole.
That's real. Yeah.
So but also I couldn't stop once I told my daughter I was going to get it, because then it would look like I, was a quitter. So it's like, okay, I told her I'm going to get it no matter what. I'm going to get it. I got to get it.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the biggest, that and rock. I mentioned it to Rocky. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. What do you need, man? Whatever you need, I'll pay for it. I got you. This is, you know what I mean? So I told him I was going to do it. And so, I had to do it because I was like, okay, if nothing else, man, I got to get out of here with my bachelor's degree. I earned all the other things in pursuit of the bachelor's. So I earned the three associate's degrees. I earned the 2 paralegal certificates, all in pursuit of the bachelor's degree. You know what I mean? So it was great.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Okay, before we leave, let's do these not so rapid fire questions, aka the slow as hell questions. Are you
Mm-hmm.
ready? ¿Estás listo?
Mm-hmm.
First one, 3 words to
Okay, man.
describe yourself.
Optimistic, loyal, and trustworthy.
And you know what? Optimistic for sure. I met you before you went in. You're always optimistic. Optimistic while you're in there. We go visit you. You just have this vibe, this light, and you still have it. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't win. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh
because they
yeah.
didn't take that shit away from you. So yeah, optimistic for sure. All those other things for sure, but that optimistic, it's that light. You got a light, bib, a light. The
Thank you.
next
Thank
question: what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
you. I think I said it earlier too. I think it's the same one. Just do you. Just be yourself.
That's real.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you got to be accountable to yourself when you look back at things and say, did I do what I wanted to do? Did I become the person that I wanted to become? Because if you as long as you did that, then you're going to be satisfied at the end of the day.
That's real. The next one: what are you doing to dismantle the patriarchy?
What am I doing to dismantle the patriarchy? Great question. That's what they always say when they get a hard question. Great question. I'm glad you asked that. um, I'm gonna have to say support matriarchy.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'll say, I'll support matriarchy. Yeah, and anything else that I'm directed to do by matriarchs. Well,
Love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, next one. Song that you listen to get you hyped when you need it. When you're in need, what's your go-to?
um, I'm gonna be honest. I like the Okie Dog song. You know what I mean? It gets me hyped. That's my go-to now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, damn,
Yeah.
listen to a song about me or loosely based on me. You know what I mean? Like this is it's an amazing feeling. Like I'm not a rapper, but I got a rap about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I didn't. It wasn't something that was planned. So it's just basically it's just hype. So that hypes me up when I listen to that, and it just goes. They're like the song just goes. Shout out Mercican. But
Have you talked to him since you've been out?
not over the not on the phone, just on through social media and text
Oh,
and
nice.
like that.
He's happy to hear you're out, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So we're gonna probably link up real soon. It's really been on me. I've just been super busy, just still getting settled in. So I haven't talked to a lot of people
Yeah.
other than those methods through social media and text. Just because. So if anybody seen this and I haven't called you yet or linked up with you, pulled up on you, then I'm still in the process of getting settled in. I'm
Yeah.
still, I had a whole bunch of, I just got a whip. What I mean. So.
I saw it.
Um,
Nice.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm
Congrats.
just, I'm just, I'm just getting everything. I'm just getting everything going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as soon as I get settled and fully acclimated, then I'm pulling up and I'm reaching out and all that. So
Nice. Yeah. Last question. What will be your legacy?
um, I want a couple of them. It's gonna be a legacy of like reunification, like reconnecting,
Mm-hmm.
and you know showing basically by example, like how people
Yeah.
could how you can reconnect with your family, especially like your kid or kids, no matter what transpired before that. There's always a chance to make it right, um, and maybe the a positive look on people utilizing their second chances. You know what I
That's
mean? Like
real.
not just making the most out of a second chance. Now that when it's presented to you, but I also want to help inmates, former inmates, and for me especially, I want to help the youth so they don't become inmates.
Please believe it. So they're not
So
part of that school to pipeline system.
right, prevention. I want to focus on.
Prevention.
Um, I was speaking to a gentleman by the name of Tavikus Dawson, and he's the author of the Hurt Help book,
Okay.
and he focuses on prevention. Shout out Tavikus. He focuses on prevention, reentry, and a few other things. He does basically everything to help to help the cause, and so I kind of want to follow in those footsteps,
Yeah.
and do something real positive and just kind of help. My focus is going to be mainly prevention,
Nice.
because I feel like a lot of people are in there because they didn't know the laws, and to the extent that the laws could be pushed. It's not about like me. I didn't gang bang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't out robbing people.
Yeah.
I wasn't out, just doing heinous acts of violence for no reason, or anything like that.
Yep.
More is I didn't know to what extent that they could use their laws as a weapon, and how they could get me with their laws. So had I known the laws, then I think my situation would have been way different. So I want
Yeah.
to basically focus on prevention by teaching the laws.
Yeah, and also implementing, I think it's important to implement other types of programs that offset a lot of reasons why black and brown, BIPOC people are even put in these positions to
Absolutely.
enter. And if you, those that are listening, if you want to listen to episode 12, I have Rebecca Cervantes. She's a health and equity advocate, and she talks about that. We talked about the school to prison pipeline, and all the different, it's public health. It's a public health situation, however you look at it. Like you would need to have the resources and the programs out there in the communities, to, like you said, for prevention, to prevent even entering the system in any way, because you
And
go to the foster system, they're like, oh, let's put them up in there, easy. That's an easy, entry to the prison system. You know what I'm saying? Like all these different things. And I saw recently someone posted, they're like, you're going to take away the kid from the mom and pay the foster parent $38,000 a year for that kid. Why not pay the mom? Like, give that money
right.
back to the mom or the parent. I mean, whoever the guardian is, to
So
to get them stabilized.
so the kid doesn't have to be destroyed in the process.
Yeah, because we all know it's a fucked up process. Like you hear like, oh, they just take them out of this bad situation and put them in foster care so they can get more fucked up. Like I've known people, I've heard stories.
Oh, the prison is full of people that were foster kids. Like, yeah, their situations just become more fucked up. Because it's basically a paycheck. There's no love.
Yeah.
It's basically a paycheck for the foster parents. Not all foster parents, but the majority of
Yeah.
them, it's
For
a
the
paycheck.
majority of them, it's a
And,
paycheck.
and they'll grab as many kids as they can to increase the amount of that paycheck. And I run into so many foster kids in the system that are just fucked up. Like they're
Yeah.
just
Because they
they're
didn't have
messed
any
up.
type of stability. And that's what, there's also another book that I just finished listening to, actually. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And just of how different traumas affect, through science, they know how it affects your mentals and your physical, you know what I'm saying? Like, and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people, because as a kid, if you had traumatic shit happen to you as a kid, you didn't have the stability. You're always like on edge, or it could go one way where you're always the aggressor, or always like the loud person, or you're always the victim because you were a victim as a kid or as a young adult, and you don't have any other tools to realize that you're putting yourself in a fucked up situation. You know what I'm saying? So it could go either way. So yeah, man, crazy. Well, Bib, thank you so much. I love you. I'm so happy that you're out. I'm glad that I got to social distantly, safely see you.
For sure.
And that the supernatural bear, he loves you so much.
Love you too, man.
And that he got to see, that we all got to see you for a hot second. It was a glorious day, man. It was fucking one for the books, one that I knew was going to happen, but we were all surprised because it happened quicker than we thought.
Sure.
So it was a pleasant surprise. And at the same time, we're like, what? He's in LA? Oh, it's a pandemic and we can't go see him. Like now he's hella close instead of hours away.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, no, that's amazing. And I have a feeling because of all the shit you've done before you even got out fully, with Jalen. Shout out to Jalen, your daughter, my niece. I feel like if you continue on this path, fucking the space is the limit for you, babe.
For sure. Shout out Jalen, co-author, co-creator, everything. Love you, girl. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me on and being such a great hermana.
No problem, hermano. Love you.
All right, I love you too.
Your industry is loud and congested. How will you cut through the noise while maintaining brand integrity? Regardless of how talented and creative your core team is, nearly all businesses need some level of support in order to communicate their message. From brand identity and graphic design to experiential and digital, let the team at Ritzy Periwinkle help you speak your mind and translate rough thoughts into captivating action. Visit ritzyperiwinkle.com today to schedule a no-cost 30-minute consultation to discuss the best creative strategies for your business. That's ritzyperiwinkle.com. Ritzy Periwinkle. Let's build. And now, introducing
the Supernatural Bear Corner. Supernatural Bear. Yo, what up, my Autobots and Decepticons? It's me, SMB16. And today, unlike most days where I just say a few words or make an a cappella or something like that, today I'm doing an actual interview with my uncle and co-author of the Pixie Poochie series. Also, I'm not sure if co-author even is a word, but co-author of the Pixie Poochie series, my Uncle Big Jae. Give him a hand.
Hey, glad to be here.
I'm so glad I get to actually interview someone for a change. I always love to interview people. It's my passion. My passion is interviewing people. So today we have 3 questions.
All right.
One of them from me, another one from a fan, and then the other one from a fan.
All right, awesome.
So,
I love my fans.
Also get
and you, of course.
Get my Thea ready for the giant icebreaker question.
Oh, okay. Get your Tia ready for the giant icebreaker question.
Yeah, I'm not going to reveal what her name is. I'm just going to give you a clue. Uncle Big Jae's name, it's not actually Big Jae, but I just grew up calling him that. So even I don't know his real name. So I'm just winging it with Uncle Big Jae and hoping that no one tracks him down. So.
All right.
So yeah. Let's do some
Ask
question
away.
asking. Let's do
Let's
this.
do it.
Let's do it. So for real, let's get into the questions. Okay,
All right.
number
For real,
one.
let's do this. Yes, sir.
What is your favorite Transformers toy and just overall character? Like I have Megatron right here. He's not my favorite. I would say my favorite is Shockwave or Soundwave. Out of all of the Transformers that I know of, I love Shockwave because he's just, oh my god, so cool. And Soundwave because, again, one of my uncles knows Soundwave, and I just grew up loving Soundwave. So, what is your favorite Transformer toy for first?
See, if you would have asked me a little while ago, I probably would have said Optimus Prime. Just because. However, you hit me to something the other day that I did not know. And that was the Shockwave in one of the series.
Hearts of Steel.
Hearts of Steel. Shockwave Hearts of Steel. That's the dude right there. It turns into the big ship, the big military-style vessel. Never seen that before, so that changed my whole opinion. That's my new favorite. Shockwave Hearts of Steel. Let's do this.
Yeah, I would choose any Shockwave, but specifically Hearts of Steel too, because also a little secret up in here, somewhere in this closet lies an unopened Siege Shockwave. So next time when I get to open the Shockwave, I'll show you.
All right. When I grew up, it was like basically Shockwave just turned into the jet. Right? Wasn't that? Or is that sound?
He turned. I think you're talking about Starscream, but Shockwave actually just turned into a more Cybertronian intergalactic. A more Cybertronian intergalactic planetary intergalactic gun. Well, Megatron transforms usually into a more Earth mode gun, like specifically in G1 a Walther P-38. But Shockwave in the original cartoon series, he stayed on Cybertron. But unfortunately, he had to get killed by Unicron. Sorry if this is turning a little bit dark. But hey, whoever's watching this, listening to this, probably a grown up. So yeah,
you can handle it.
You're grown up, so you're supposed to
handle it.
You're supposed to take the darkest of the dark. It's the real world we're talking, but I would definitely want to work on the Decepticon side. Also, because I'm evil and I can do what I want. Ain't nobody bossing me around. Ain't nobody got time for that. And what is your favorite Transformers toy?
Favorite Transformers toy?
If you had one.
I'm gonna have to say the one I used to play with the most was the Optimus Prime one.
Wait, what? You had G1 Optimus Prime?
Back in the day, yeah. That was the one I used to play with. So.
Is he somehow up for grabs?
No, he's gone. It's a long time ago. Long time ago. I moved about 30 times since then. It's over.
Man, I would pay $1,000 for just a vintage Optimus Prime somewhere, like a vintage, not like one of those vintage G1 ones, like a vintage back from 1984. Man,
if I could go back in time and change one thing, I would save it for you.
Huh. Okay, next question. Do you have a stuffy? And if so, do you sleep with it?
Do I have a stuffy?
Yeah. Just tell us his name, his or her name, gender, and little origin.
I do not have a stuffy.
Oh, you do not have a stuffy?
I'm not even sure what a stuffy is. A stuffy is
Like a stuffed
like a stuffed animal.
Yeah, like a stuffed animal or a stuffed companion that you can relate to.
Nope. Oh, nope. I guess my stuffy would be your Tia Loopy.
Okay,
You know
so
what I
that
mean?
was all the questions that we had. Thank you so much, Uncle Big Jae.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, little Big J. Anytime. Can't wait to get back on here and talk to you some more.
All right,
I'm
goodbye,
there. I'm there.
everyone.
Shooby-doo. Damn it. Yeah, that was a great episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it because it was a lot of fun to produce. There was a lot of editing going down for the SMB corner, but he did such a good job, that my little professional little man. It was significantly longer. There was his Tia Lupita in there, but we had to cut it because of how it was, the flow and just the names and stuff like that. But yeah, he did a great job. I didn't prep him. I mean, he learned from the best, I guess. But yeah, thanks for listening. Keep on supporting any way you can. We appreciate it, so we can, really focus and showcase diverse voices. And yeah, let's make shit happen in the 2021s. We reap. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy Periwinkle. The intro to Word to Your Mama was produced by Nico Beats. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by ritzyperiwinkle.com and panoplybpo.com.